Dear friends, we all know how a small virus has beaten down the bourgeois science. When we talk about bourgeois science, forthwith an objection may come to qualification of science as bourgeois. It may be validly said, and of course, I admit it, that it is valid. This objection is valid. That science is neither bourgeois nor socialist, and it can't be. So, we must make it clear at the very outset of this talk that by bourgeois science we mean the science of the age of capitalism, the age of political, social, and economic domination of world bourgeoisie, the science that is strangled by capitalism, stuffed and sliced into hundreds and hundreds of rival bourgeois nation states. So, this is how the world in our times stands. It is divided between various bourgeois national states. Today, as you can see with open eyes, virus is acquiring ever new mutations, and the science of our times is lagging far behind it. While not even 5% of population of the world is vaccinated against the original wild SARS-2 virus, it has already passed through alpha, delta, and delta plus variants, with newer variants ruling the roost every time. So, the virus is dominating the science. Virus is getting ahead of the science. Apart from the general decline and inability of capitalism in carrying out innovations of science, techniques, and technology in general, its orientation towards unproductive sectors like arms, ammunitions, and other military sectors, as you know. And also, I would include the entire war stuff into it. That is another huge obstacle. This orientation is huge obstacle on the path to its development in the service of mankind. On the contrary, what is happening that all resources and energies are being diverted and propelled only towards destructive purposes, and these purposes are centered around securing more and more profits for nationally organized gangs of capitalists, the ruling elites of different countries. The ruling elite of the world as a whole. Consequences of it are really devastating. On the one hand, the lagging of science far behind its times is leaving us all bare exposed to, I would say, immense dangers of our times that emanate from natural calamities in the form of floods, drought, fire, epidemics, etc. etc. While on the other, we see the destructive employment of the conquests of science that present us with even more dangerous and more, uh, I would say, devastating threat of a world war, and in fact, a nuclear holocaust, a nuclear winter. Virus, the coronavirus is keeping ahead of us, and the world as a whole is reeling under the colossal crisis that is generated by spread of this virus in the form of a epidemic. The crisis is really unprecedented as the world today stands so integrated that a single infection in one corner of the world becomes pandemic the next day all over the world. This presents us, this integration of the world presents us with a challenge faced never before in history on such a large scale. Unfortunately, our generation, the generation of 21st century, we can say, is not proving itself up to the task of its era, up to the challenges of its times. In fact, this generation is deprived of the logistics and the necessary cultural basis also. It is not equipped and trained in this direction. Ruling elites of the world, the capitalists, the big bourgeoisie, the big businesses, the big traders, investors, as our world stands divided into rival nation states between them, has proven totally unable to conjoin and unite the efforts of entire humanity on a real global scale. Meager and half-hearted efforts of these national states are totally insufficient to counter the challenges of our times that have acquired a global character every time. Oriented to nothing but petty profits, the rotten elite of the world and its corrupt to the core states cannot and can never deliver anything except staggering failure after failure, in fact, a series of failures. The virus is only a trailer of what is reserved for us in the valley of future. Mankind is paying the price of not making a revolution in time. History is calling upon us to march forward, to overturn the rot of old decaying world. It is in fact warning us either to act or be doomed, either to carry out a successful birth of the new or get an abortion after long birth pangs. These are the alternatives that history is leaving to us today. Either continue to reel under the aches of calamities, natural and man-made, both, or carry out a successful socialist revolution. Dear friends, choice is yours, choice is ours. History has already presented us with these alternatives.